So, Professor Justice Tankebe, we're here at the Society of Evidence-Based Policing Conference. You're one of the speakers. What are you here to talk about?
I'm here to talk about what I describe as anti-fragile legitimacy. We know that legitimacy in the world today is even much more important with a lot of, if you like, unexpected and unpredictable events happening. So a key strategic challenge for the police is how they prepare for such events so that not only do they prevent legitimacy crisis, but they might actually gain from such events and become even better in terms of their standing in local communities.
So what's the recipe for achieving that?
Well, I'm going to talk about, I think, at least 5 issues that the police could consider. One is, of course, to think about legitimacy as a continuous dialogue. So that requires constant engagement with local communities. And that means understanding the local communities, what their expectations are, and working towards meeting those expectations. And of course, these dialogues need to be genuine dialogues, not some manipulation of the public. So that's the first important thing to consider. The second is to approach legitimacy as a pluralistic issue. In other words, we're focusing on a multiplicity of issues rather than just one thing, because the communities we are dealing with are diverse communities, so they're bound to have different expectations of the police. Some people might be more concerned about the crime in their local communities, and so effectiveness will be crucial. Others will be much more concerned about police misconduct. Others might be concerned about the quality of the treatment they receive when they interact with the police on a day-to-day basis, or issues about discrimination, of course, or all of these issues at a given time. And I think the risk that we often find with police is that they focus on one of these things. So either procedure justice alone, or effectiveness alone, or lawfulness alone. But that will be, I think, a risky position. It makes you much more vulnerable to the unexpected events. The third issue is that the police need to think about implementation of policies because even when we have really strong evidence about, for example, what works in preventing all kinds of violence, implementation can still produce unintended negative consequences. So the challenge for the police is to adopt kind of take small steps, right, at a time, so that you can track, you can monitor the effects of the policies in order to potentially reverse those policies that might have unintended negative outcomes. The other point that I highlight is that of transparency and learning from mistakes. Um, I think there's often a view, especially when you look at complaints against the police, that the police take a very legalistic approach. So, is this behavior, does it contravene the law or not? If it doesn't, then it means, for example, full stop. There's nothing to see here. When in fact, we might see mistakes, complaints as information, right? That can help the police to get an idea of what maybe community sentiments are. What kind of expectations do they have of the police? Such that even though the conduct might be lawful, people might still consider it to be problematic, so that you can respond to those changing community expectations. And that is important because, as some have argued, policing is fallible, right? It's a fallible organization. It can make mistakes and so forth. So opening up, being transparent, learning from mistakes and so forth will be ways that the police can ultimately build this notion of anti-fragility, which is much more than being resilient. Because in resilience, all your structural issues essentially remain the same. But you want to go beyond that, right? You want to improve by learning from these sort of things. So that's what I will be discussing with the participants.
Excellent. Well, we'll be looking forward to hear about
Indeed.
that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much,
Yeah,
and
thank you.
congratulations. I think you became co-professor yesterday.
Indeed. Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
Cambridge.
Thank you.
you.
Right.